Assalamu alaikum, guys. This is Dr. Nida Masroor. Today we are going to discuss uh, an overview of strategic management. So, what is strategic management all about? First of all, we need to understand what is strategic management all about. Strategic management is the management of an organization's resources to achieve its goals and objectives. Some other definitions elaborate strategic management as it involves setting objectives, analyzing the competitive environment, analyzing the internal organization, evaluating strategies, and ensuring that management rolls out the strategies across the organization. We need to understand one thing as well, that different authors have proposed different definitions of a strategic management. What I believe is strategic management is all about understanding, managing the organization, and developing plans while understanding, analyzing, interpreting the external environment for an organization and responding to that environment accordingly. What does it mean? That whatever policies you devise for an organization, you need to make them in accordance with the changes in external environment, in external market environment, business environment. So they should be compatible. The organization's internal environment should become compatible with the external environment as well. Another question that arises, why do we study strategic management? What is the need to teach strategic management in business administration and so on? Basically, in our 4 years degrees program, you got to understand the principles of different subjects, like principles of marketing, principles of management, principles of HR, and they help you develop an aptitude to become an executive in an organization, to understand the basic concepts that works in an organization. When you move on towards understanding and studying the management courses like marketing management, HR management, operation management, and so on, those management subjects help you develop an aptitude to become a manager, to manage the things on a higher level. As we all know that there are different levels in an organization, the first level, the lower level, the middle level management, and then comes the top level management that comprises of the CEO and the board of directors as well. So when we talk about strategic management, that is all about managing and understanding the game that is played on the top level management, played by the top level management. Whenever you got to study the strategic management, it helps you understand the environment on a broader scale, the resources of an organization on a broader scale, and it helps you develop the outline, the mission statement, the vision statement that gives the foundation for the rest of the management to follow the plans as well, as per the changing environment, changing business environment. Another thing that is very important and that is also being taught on the like beginners level that the most important skill that is required on the top level management is the strategic and conceptual skill. And what is that strategic and conceptual skill? That is all about understanding the external business environment and develop the plans, develop your strategies accordingly. Moving on towards the next slide. As we have discussed earlier, that there's different authors have proposed different definitions of strategic management and strategies. But in simple terms, what we can understand that the strategic management is all about developing the strategies, developing your plans according to the changing business environment, external environment, while understanding, interpreting, analyzing, and responding to the external business environment. This is a comprehensive strategic model, management model, that is proposed by Fred David in his book of strategic management, that comprises of 8 different stages. This particular strategic management is also elaborated in detail in his book of strategic management, where if we discuss the index of that particular thing, we can see in part 1 that discuss the basic introduction, basic concepts of strategic management, whereas from part 2, part 3, and part 4, we need to understand, we come up with the different stages that are discussed in the previous diagram, that is strategy formulation, strategy implementation, and then comes the strategy evaluation. The 3 basic steps, that is strategy formulation, strategy implementation, and strategy evaluation. In strategy, formulating a strategy, that is further divided into 5 different steps. The first step being developing the vision and mission statements of an organization, that is discussed in chapter 2 in the book of Fred David, Strategic Management. And what is vision and mission statement for an organization? Where vision statement, vision gives the visionary outlook of an organization. Along with the vision statement, the mission statement provides a roadmap for the organization. That gives an outline for the top level managers to develop their long-term plans. As the top level management defines those programs that are further divided into short, medium-term goals and short-term goals. So the framework that is defined, the framework that is provided for the development of long-term plans is given by the mission statement, the vision and mission statement of an organization. Moving on towards the next chapters, that is chapter 3 and chapter 4, they are based on the external audit, the external environment analysis, and internal environment analysis. The next step that comes is the establishment of long-term objectives on the basis of external and internal environment analysis. This is one of the most important, the environment analysis is one of the most important aspects in strategic management, as we have discussed earlier, that all the strategies that are formulated by the top level management should be in accordance with the external environment. The reason behind the failure or success of an organization is totally based on the in-depth analysis of external environment. Establish long-term objectives, and then the next step, that is the part of a strategy formulation, that is generate, evaluate, and select strategies. What is it all about? We will discuss in detail in the later slides. And then comes the next step, that is a strategy implementation. A strategy implementation comprises of two different chapters in Fred David model, and that is based on implementing strategies and dealing with the issues that arise as a result of strategy implementation. One thing we need to understand, that whenever you propose a solution for one problem, you may come up with different problems at hand, and preempting those problems defines the success of any strategy. Preempting, that is the pre-control, preempting the issues that may arise as a result of implementing a certain strategy. That is the success in strategic management. For instance, we can say that for instance, if we say that there was a problem and people, in order to maintain the decor of a house, people come up with a solution of like concealed pipelines or concealed wiring. So when they come up with a solution of providing the concept of concealed wiring and concealed plumbing kind of thing, to maintain the decor and to provide safety to those wiring or plumbing, etc. Then comes another problem that leads to another problem. One of the things that in case of a failure or failure, or in case of breakage of any of the pipelines or any of the wires within the walls of a house, you need to follow a procedure. And it's not easy to locate the breakage in concealed wiring or concealed plumbing. That also leads to an increase in the cost as well. So there are situations there whenever an organization implement a new strategy, they install a new software in an organization, they come up with a training issues, employee training, and customer training as well. So while implementing a strategy, you always come up with new areas, new problems, new issues in every department, whether that may be the marketing department, there may be operation department, there may be that might be the finance, HR, or any other department. So preempting and dealing with those issues beforehand is the key to success of any strategy. The last step, that is the strategy evaluation, being the part of any obviously evaluation and control, and is one of the important elements while making any long-term and short-term plans. That's the same thing in case of strategy formulation. You always have to define the means of evaluating those strategies as well. Moving on towards the next slide, that is the index, as discussed earlier, that this is the index of the book that is provided by Fred David. In that book, we can see that in part 2, that the strategy formulation part, we have 5 chapters in hand, and they all talk about the same things that are discussed in the strategic management process discussed in first chapter. Part 3 comprises of 2 chapters, and part 4 comprises of one chapter, that is strategy review and evaluation. Now, what is vision and mission? What is vision? As we have discussed earlier, that it outlines what the organization wants to be or how it wants the world in which it operates to be. It is also a long-term view and concentrates the visionary outlook of an organization, define the prospects of an organization, whether that is it has a narrow approach or a broader approach. It can be emotive, or it is a source of inspiration for the entrepreneurs. Whereas a mission statement that defines the fundamental purpose of an organization or enterprise, describing why it exists and what it does to achieve its vision. As discussed earlier, that it defines a clear outline or the roadmap or the boundaries for an organization. A roadmap that gives the direction for every plan that is made within the organization to be followed. The next step, as we have discussed earlier, that one of the most important aspects in a strategic management is the environment analysis. There are 2 major areas in an organization, in environment, 2 major categories of environments. One is the macro environment and the other is micro environment. Macro environment is also considered as the external environment of an organization, or it is also at times termed as the uncontrollable one, because it is beyond the control of an organization. Whereas the micro environment is the internal environment of an organization, and that is within the control of an organization. One thing we need to understand, that the success or failure of an organization is always in their ability to make their internal environment compatible with the external environment. The success of any organization lies in the compatibility of every strategy. For example, if we say that if a company wants to launch certain products, and if they are not in accordance with the climatic conditions, not compatible with the technological environment, technological external environment, that is not going to like sustain in the market. People are not going to use that product that is not in accordance with their technological abilities, or the product that is beyond